The United States is often thought to be the greatest nation on earth. Millions have been given the opportunity to live life as they see fit. Through our efforts, we've created culture, technology, and an increasingly diverse and inclusive society. And as any nation inevitably does, we run into our share of issues. However, we as people band together and approach any number of issues, including debates over race, gender, ethnicity, income, and so on. But in our mission to bring equality and a feeling of acceptance to all Americans, we've neglected a group. A group comprised of many of us. They never signed up. It knows no racial, economic, or ethnic bounds. It simply affects us, people. Yet in the way our judicial system and society views these fellow human beings is highly prejudiced. I'm talking about those who aren't necessarily normal. Those who live and hide in plain sight. The mentally afflicted. An umbrella term that millions of Americans, including many of us, and maybe even you, fit under.
We have been conditioned to think of physical health. You know, if you break your arm, if you have pneumonia, then people say go to the doctor, get treatment. Those are measurable things. Those are things you can see. But for mental health, I think there's still more of a sense of, snap out of it. If you're depressed or anxious, that those are things that you can control, that it's a matter of will.
1 in 5 American teens suffer from or will suffer from some form of mental illness, and suicide is within the top 5 leading causes of teen death. 1 in 4 American adults suffer from or will suffer from some form of mental illness in their lifetime. So nearly 43 million American adults have been diagnosed with a mental illness, and those are just the ones that have been diagnosed.
Well, I think that there's 3 major categories, for instance, for depression. I'll use that as an example. One is a chemical imbalance, which would be like having cancer or diabetes. It's brain chemistry. You can't control that. That would be one predisposing factor for mental illness. Another thing would be drugs. Drug use can precipitate a mental disorder. And then current circumstances.
Half of all substance abusers are mentally ill. Many of us already know this unfortunate fact. Those affected receive assistance primarily from outsider volunteer groups and federally funded programs created by departments such as SAMHSA and the National Institute of Mental Health, which utilize billions in federal grants, which would then be used on a state level to provide resources for the mentally ill. These programs have been semi-successful. There's no black and white cause and effect in what causes mental illness. A number of factors come into play what triggers these afflictions, and it may be onset, hereditary, just out of nowhere. Nonetheless, it's still painful for all of us. And through this film, I hope to inspire you, the viewer, to push for change in not just your own community, but the communities around you, including the cities, the schools, homeless shelters, the rehab clinics,